the Canadian context, number, what is it, 12? Yes,
Yes.
we're on number 12. Today we're going to be stereotyping, or sorry, not stereotyping, but we're going to be ranking, kind of like ranking and just generally talking about like a bunch of Canadian universities. So
Yeah.
hopefully yours is included. Yes.
Yeah, I know mine will be.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, which one should we start with? Which one has the
Okay.
most lore?
Um, okay, before we even start, little disclaimer. I didn't go to university. I went to college. And so this is coming from an outsider point of view. And Abigail, our fellow host, is a current college student. Or sorry, current university
University?
student. Yes.
Don't belittle me.
Yeah, sure. You paid extra money to get to do what? Nothing?
I
Okay.
paid the same amount.
If not more. Because
No,
you're
the
paying for
same amount.
longer. No? Okay. Well,
Well, yours was
anyway.
$3,000 a semester, and mine is $3,000 a semester, roughly.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Okay, so
Anyway,
should we
just
just
because
start
you
with
went
like,
to college doesn't mean you're not smarter or lesser. I'm just joking. I don't want to get canceled.
what is the bottom? Like, when you think they should, like, bottom of the barrel university, and
The
I feel
worst
bad
you
that
want.
you go there. Yeah.
Oh. Huh. Ooh. Well, I feel bad for, like, um, I forgot what it's called now. The art school in Toronto. Something?
Uh,
OCAD.
okay. Oh, yeah. Ontario College of Art and Design University.
So, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel bad if you go to that school.
I
You,
didn't even know it was a university. Like, I actually found out there's the Toronto Metropolitan University, and then
yeah.
there's OCAD.
TMU is another bottom of the barrel for me, but I think it's mostly, if I think art school, I think bottom of the barrel because you're going to be unemployed.
Right.
It's kind of
Is
cruel.
it like? Do you think it's because of like you have the big two in Toronto. You have York and University of Toronto. Do you think it's just like not many people go to those universities because you could just go to the other two?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I mean, I know OCAD is a really small university. Like, it's really
Mm-hmm.
just fine arts. You know,
Right. Okay.
drawing,
So it's literally just
design.
for art stuff, right? Okay.
It's fine arts though. There's a
Mm.
difference. There's a difference between
Okay.
arts and fine arts. For example, my degree, communication and media, is arts, but it's not fine
Mm.
arts. You know what I mean?
Right.
Arts is broad.
Oh, okay. Fine. Okay. So when you say fine arts, sorry, I'm learning this, guys. So, uh, fine arts is financial art.
No,
Like, is that
fine
what you're
arts
saying?
is
No.
like drawing, music, acting,
Mm-hmm.
like the
So
basic
like
art.
when you think art, you think that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And then arts in general, like I'm getting a Bachelor of Arts. That's very, very broad. And it's
Mhm.
just, it basically just categorizes everything else that doesn't really have a category.
Right. Okay.
So, my school, York, I'm under the Liberal Arts and Professional Studies faculty, but we also have a Fine Arts faculty.
Right.
And liberal arts is the biggest one because everything falls under that, like even history, certain sciences, all those
Mm-hmm.
cultural studies, I believe, are part of it. Yeah, just so you know.
Okay. I would probably say another bottom of the barrel. This actually has no diss towards like any university. It's just any university that's like far up north, like like you
Oh,
university.
Lakehead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Lakehead has an,
Like.
I think they have a 100% acceptance rate. And I have a friend that goes up there, and she likes it.
Huh.
She does like it, but she was able to make friends and stuff.
Mhm.
But it is a smaller university, and they actually pay you to go there because no one wants to
Damn.
go there. Yeah. Like for her, she has a
Well, I feel
free
like
ride.
it seems like most of the bottom of the barrel ones are just like small universities.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though because no one wants to go there. I think the only thing that makes Lakehead bottom of the barrel is that it's up north and nobody
Right.
wants to go there. And I've heard
Hmm.
mixed feelings about the Great White North. You know, how
Hmm.
the cold feels different. Because where we live down in southern Ontario, we have a lot of wind from the lakes, and the wind is cold. But if you go up there, there's no wind. So the cold doesn't hurt as much as it does here.
Um. Okay, so I would say like that's pretty much it for that university.
Yeah, Lakehead.
Uh
There's also
yeah,
Algoma.
Alabama. Yeah.
Those are all small ones. They don't
Hmm.
really mean anything.
Okay. Let's move on to like a more well-known university. I'd say we could start with Brock. When talking about Brock, I would say it's like the most like average. Like when you how do I say it? It's like such a not I wouldn't say mid, but like it's mid.
Yeah.
It's so like there's nothing special about it. It's just every you know health science student ever goes to Brock.
All the
It's not. It's
country
like
kids go there.
the nursing program of your high school. Everyone does it, and
Hmm.
or and Brock is that school.
Yeah. I know. I did a I actually got into Brock, but I didn't want to go there because it's kind of the yeehaw school in my opinion. Like pretty much every
Mhm.
single basic white girl from my high school went to Brock.
Where is Brock
It's in
located?
Thorold, which just outside St.
Oh,
Catharines.
right. Okay, so you're not like in like a major city.
No, and that's why everyone goes there because it's so close. So they want to
Right.
live on their own, but not really because they want to go home on the
Mhm.
weekends.
Right. So you're saying it's like the yeehaw
It
school.
is. Yeah. I mean, you
Okay.
could also say that about Guelph, but I feel like
Mhm.
Guelph is much more diverse than Brock. Because
Right.
Guelph actually is known for their agriculture
Hmm.
department, which is a lot of farmers. But they have
Right.
a like I'd still say there's a lot of country kids that go there, but not
Hmm.
the basic white people that I know that all went to Brock. I can't stand those people. Sorry if you're one of them.
So you're saying like so Brock is like the most just white person school.
Yeah, it's so white, it's so basic, so plain. I don't know why people choose to go there other than the location.
Right. Huh. I
Yeah.
do have a few friends that go to Brock.
Yeah, I know a
They don't
bunch of
say
people
much about
there.
it, but like, I'm sure they would probably all agree that it's like run of the mill university. Everybody most majority of the students are most likely white.
Yeah. I mean, every school needs to meet their diversity requirements, but
Yes.
it is very white. And if you go to my school in York, I'm like, and if I'm in my class, there's like one or two other white people. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
else, they're usually like Korean or Chinese. I feel like that's the
Right.
biggest demographic at my school, which is what
Mm-hmm.
made it hard to make friends because none of them are interested in being friends with a white girl. And I've tried to be friends with them, but they just were never interested.
Frick. And now I just realized I should have just like texted someone from like Brock and just be like, "Yo, I'm on the podcast."
It's okay.
It's
We
okay.
can do a separate episode all about Brock.
It's true.
We can do
Okay.
whatever we want.
Here, let's move on to like a big one. We'll just talk about University of Toronto. And for all the University of Toronto students that are listening, I am so sorry that you have to go here.
Oh, yeah.
I hear it is depression at all times, and I hear it's like the trenches of school.
Yep. That's why they had to put bars on the residence windows because they had too many suicides.
That is
People were
bad.
jumping out of the windows. Yeah.
That is so bad.
Yeah. And I heard once they did a whole department's graduation in
Mm.
I think it was Hong Kong. I think I don't remember where exactly, but they did that because
Right.
every single graduate was from China
Hong Kong.
and Hong Kong.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
Dang.
I know someone who went to U of T and she made it through first year, But when she got to second year, she transferred all the way to Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia. Couldn't handle it anymore.
Dang.
Yeah.
And what I hear that UofT is like that is the smart person university. Like that is the what's the one famous university in the States that I can't remember the name
Harvard?
of right now? Harvard. It's like the Harvard of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at their Wikipedia page right now, and I see it is the birthplace of insulin, stem cell research, and the first artificial cardiac pacemaker. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's smart shit.
Yep.
Something I couldn't do.
Yeah. But I know, like, a lot of domestic students, they end up transferring specifically to York in their second year. I know a handful of people personally that left U of T in their first year and then came to York because it's kind of the easier version. People who choose U of T, I feel like they're just doing it for the status, but no one can actually handle it.
Right. Now, could you say, is that the school's fault for not having, programs in place to, maybe assist students and stuff like that? Or do you think it's the faculty's fault? Or do you think it's just, the level of complexity of, these programs that they have?
No, I think it's the school. They, and, like, I guess the professors, because they're, like, you can find a lot of their programs at other schools, like Mac, for example. Right. But U of T, they want to keep that high status, and they want a certain amount of people to fail every year to make them look good and make them look like a hard school, and it would be very impressive to graduate from. So they purposefully fail a certain amount of students every year for that reason. Allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah. This is just
like, I feel like if a class, like, if a class all got 100% on everything, I'm sure they would still have to.
They have to bell curve it, yeah. So then they'd have some students fail, and then they'd kind of trickle it so they have their certain amount. I'm sure you've heard of the bell curve before.
No, actually, I haven't.
Okay, this is a trick that all universities and colleges use. Professors usually use it to make them look good, but usually it's if the majority of the class fails, they bell curve it and raise the grades of a certain amount of students so the professor doesn't look bad. But U of T, they purposefully lower their grades, allegedly, with the bell curve, so a certain amount fail.
So it's an opposite of the bell curve.
Yes, and that's why students are unhappy because they can work day and night, study all night for exams, and still fail or get a low grade. So that's why most of them do not make it past first year. That's usually enough. So, but if you look in upper years, they're usually international students because for like China, for example, they're really harsh on students from a young age so they can handle that kind of academic abuse. But domestic students or students from like European countries, they can't do it.
Right. So it seems like let's say you hand in an assignment at the U of T, they can probably just they could mark you let's say you get 85 out of 100, but they see one little mistake or a couple mishaps, and they'll just be like, all right, so now you have a 40.
So usually it would only be if too many students do well. They don't want everyone to do well. Some people can, but so say someone gets a 90 and someone gets a 70, they don't want both of them to pass, so then they'll lower their grade so one person gets a 40 and the other one gets a 60.
Damn.
Yeah. That's kind of how the bell curve works.
Now, when I went to college, I did hear, but we didn't call it bell curve, but if majority of a class failed a test or whatever, or an exam, then they would okay, so where did we fuck up? And where did we, was it my fault as a professor, or was it, how the exam was written? Usually comes down to the exam because they're from 2010, and and I did like the way they handled it, at least how the teachers said it, but I'm sure the way you just described it is probably how it actually is.
Mm. So did they let you retake a test if everyone failed?
No, so what they would do is give out like marks. Like let's say if majority like they would look at the question if they're like, oh, well, yeah, no wonder why most of the students got it wrong. And then like if it's like they literally have to go deep into it, like they'll look at the into like all the slideshows that they show us and be like, oh shit, we actually didn't cover this, so no wonder they got it wrong. Or
Hmm.
it's just like, yeah, the question just sucks, and
That kind of still sounds like a bell curve because they need to have
Mhm.
a certain amount of students do well to make them look
Right.
good. So that's part of it, but it looks like they're really investigating it because
Mhm.
allegedly, I, I've I've heard of other professors who allegedly would just change grades
All right.
without really
I'm
double
sure those are
checking.
all professors that are higher up in the
Yeah.
the food chain.
And like personally, I have a cousin, he ended up getting it was like, oh, I forgot. I think it was 40 something on an exam, but because
Yeah.
everybody failed, they bell curved it and he ended up getting like a 91.
Wow.
Yeah, like that was a severe one. So say he got 47, but the rest of the class got in the 20s. You even it out, so
Yeah.
then he's up to 91, and then the rest of the class would be like in the 60s, 70 range.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's insane.
So 47 was basically one of the highest marks handed
Mhm.
out.
If we have any listeners from UFT or who have been to UFT, please like actually like DM us, and like I'm actually interested because that sounds terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you can email us even. Our email is thecanadiancontext@gmail.com. I'm always checking it. So if there's anything you want to share with us, maybe new topic ideas or any insight or feedback, please give it to us. We love hearing back. And there's also a comment section on YouTube and Spotify. So take advantage of that. Just a side note.
Okay, so the next university, I would say, well, okay, we'll talk about Ottawa. We'll talk about University of Ottawa.
Okay.
I would say it's probably like not. I wouldn't say it's the second, like Harvard of Canada. I would say that goes to Mac.
I
Um,
disagree, but we'll get back to that.
really? Wait, hold on. Hold on. Who do you think is like the second most hardest school?
Queens.
Queens.
I
What is
think.
Queens?
What?
What is like Queens' main program?
Well, they're known, they have I know history, and
Yeah.
they have, business,
Oh,
and they have
engineering.
law,
Oh,
engineering, yeah, they have that kind of,
okay.
it's
Yeah.
very broad, it's hard to think of one, but yeah, I've heard that Queens is pretty hard. I would put Mac up there too, because I know they have the hardest molecular biology program in Canada. But that's just the one specific program.
Okay. So going back to University of Ottawa, I
Mm-hmm.
was reading up on their Wikipedia page, sorry, and it's looking like it's run of the mill arts. It's
Mm-hmm.
also engineering, health sciences, law,
Yeah,
but
your
it is
basic
also
stuff.
like it's bilingual, of
Yep.
course.
Yep, that makes
Now
them stand out.
I knew a student, or I know a student. I don't know if she says she does it online, but she could be BSing me. She failed. What was it? Not astrology, sociology, or something, or
Oh, psychology.
not psychology.
Oh.
No, no, no. She wasn't that. It wasn't that smart.
Oh.
It was like some sort of one of the ologies.
Okay.
Anyways, it's one of the easier ones. Like
Astronomy?
no, it wasn't
Okay.
astronomy. I wish it was astronomy. If she failed astronomy, I would have laughed. Uh, well, okay, it was one of the easier, like when you think of the ology, all of the ologies, it's one of the easier, like kind of like everyone talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she somehow like failed, and I was like, "How did you fail?" She's like, "Oh, I didn't know. I just." So I'm like, "Oh, so you didn't pay attention to class? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool."
Yeah. Well,
So based on that, if they're letting that student into their school, damn, oh god.
yeah, I know a lot of people that went there and are going there currently. And U Ottawa is a very unique school because of its bilingualism. You can take any program in either English or French.
Mhm.
So I know they're very big with the languages. I know someone there right now. He's going there to be a French teacher, so that is the perfect school for that career path. My mom personally, she went there for linguistics, so another language thing. So that's what they're known for, and I would say U Ottawa is a good school and great campus and great location.
Okay, so I'm looking at it. She failed astronomy. That's what she
It
failed.
is astronomy.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
what I said.
Astronomy, yeah. I thought you said sorry, I thought you said like astrology.
No. That would be funnier if she failed that.
Astrology, that's like star signs and shit.
Yeah, zodiac
Yeah.
signs.
Yeah. So if she was astrology, oh
Yeah.
boy, I think it was astronomy. And when is astronomy is like it's like stuff in space, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Planets and stars.
like I'm sorry, I know I didn't go to university, but I feel like that's not that hard. I'm sure you like there's mathematics and physics behind it, but
Not
like
really.
not really.
No.
Well, that's only I'm looking at just like the Wikipedia, and like it uses mathematics, physics, and chemistry in order to explain their origin.
Oh. It goes
Well,
that
I mean,
deep.
yeah, that makes sense. You know, what type of gases and what type of
Okay.
whatnot is made up, makes up this planet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the way she explained it, it literally just sounded like she wasn't paying attention. She
Yeah.
wasn't doing the work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not the school's fault, though. I mean, I'm sure, like, her grades could have been fine in high school, but it can all change once you go to university. I mean,
No,
I'm
her grades in high
kind
school were terrible.
of. Yeah, oh, really? Huh.
Oh yeah, dude, she failed like a bunch of her grade 12 classes.
It could have been that they didn't have enough applicants for her program, so
Right.
they had to take in lower ranking students. I don't want to sound
That's
mean,
rough.
but that's how the system works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you think university, like, as a kid, you were taught like university, this is for like really smart people, and college is for like still smart, but like you want to enhance your education beyond high school,
I wasn't
right?
taught that. I was
Really?
told
That's not how it was taught to you?
no, I was just told college is for hands-on learning and university is for like theoretical learning. And I mean, I
Oh.
used to think that if you wanted to be like a doctor or a scientist or engineer, you had to go to university and everything else was college. But turns
Mhm.
out that's not true considering I'm now going to university for communication. Which originally in high school I was thinking of just going to college for it, but I realized there could be more career opportunities with a degree rather than a diploma. So that's why I'm here.
Right.
Yeah. But there
We're
are
delivered quite
some
differently.
industries, for example, your industry, you have to go to college for it, like trade stuff.
Yeah.
You can't go to university for that. So they have their unique things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but also, like, I don't shame anyone for choosing either path. And everyone learns differently. Everyone has their different reasons for choosing whether to go to university or college. And I know
Mm-hmm.
even now colleges offer degree programs as well. And you could also go to university and just get like a certificate or something. They have like post grad certificates. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, generally like Ottawa, it's the bilingual university, and
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty run of the mill. Um, I don't know what else to say about it. Like,
Okay. I'd like to move on to UBC.
okay.
So I know a bunch of people that have gone out to UBC. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them come back because they don't like BC. And one
Mm-hmm.
person specifically, she told me that the people in BC are not necessarily that friendly.
I was gonna say, is it just because of the people in BC, or is it because of
I
the
heard,
school?
yeah, that. And I know BC has a lot more international students and immigrants than we do in Ontario, which sounds
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Um, so she had a hard time getting along with people and making friends, so she moved back to Ontario. And
Mm-hmm.
I know another girl. She went to UBC for her first year. She was so excited to move to BC. She was gonna have her whole life over there, but she came back after first year.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds all great moving really far away, but
Mm-hmm.
also it's a big change. BC is a lot different than Ontario. And people, when they think BC, I think the issue is they're thinking the mountains and the forest, but you won't be living in the mountains and the forest. You'll rarely see them. You will be in Vancouver and Victoria
Right.
in these regular junky cities. So I think people get disappointed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and also BC is much more expensive than Ontario as well. So maybe, after first year, they were living in residence, but then in second year, when you're trying to find a rental, you realize you can't afford it. You're going to be spending over $2,000 a month on a bedroom,
Right.
right?
Mm.
Over here, that one bedroom would be 1,500. Still a lot, but less.
Yeah.
That's why I'm commuting.
So it seems like it's just kind of the people there are just pushing away outsiders.
Yeah, I think that's kind of
Yeah.
what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unwelcoming. So, yeah, and there are a couple people I know, they're still in their first year now, so I mean, we'll see what happens in September if they stay or if they come back, but yeah, I mean, they say they like it. So, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everybody, but if you got your heart set on it, then do it, and you could always come back. It's not permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know
I
someone
think we
who's
can.
lived
Oh,
out, sorry. I know someone who's lived out there his whole life and he hates it, but
mm,
has nowhere else to go. So,
mm.
yeah, it's subjective.
When you think BC, you think Vancouver and like
Yeah.
how expensive it is.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
can see why. I'm surprised. Although I would say Vancouver's more accepting of foreigners than like I would say over here. But we're probably just as equal.
I don't know.
I would say at least that's well. It's probably because it's the main city,
Yeah, I
whereas
know
like
Toronto is
somewhere else.
known for its diversity.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like outside, just in the city, I don't feel like I'm unwelcome or anything, but I mean, I am
Right.
Canadian born and raised, but in my school, I certainly feel unwelcome. It's
Hmm.
unfortunate, but it's because the majority of the students are international students, so
Right.
are the dominant ones, and then the domestic students are the minorities there.
Also, keep in mind though that most domestic students or people that want to become domestic students can't afford it
You
right
mean
now
international
because
students?
sorry.
Do you mean international students that want to be there permanently?
No, I mean like no, I mean like people who have lived in Canada forever, like since birth.
Mm-hmm.
They probably cannot afford it because you know nobody can afford anything now unless you're given money by the government.
Yeah. Okay. Um, are there any other schools we should talk about?
I would say McMaster is probably like a good one.
Okay. I know a bunch of people there too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know a few people there too.
Yeah.
McMaster, it's in the top 5 of like smart people or smart people university.
Yeah.
It's like the big medical university though, and
Yeah.
you know, doctors. I don't think lawyers don't go there though. It's not a law
No.
school, right?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
it's mainly health science, yeah, engineering, all that. Like smart people thing. Yeah, it's very like science, business, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that it's like in the top 5.
Mhm.
Anything to do with engineering and like science, of course, it's going to be in the top 5.
Yeah. it is. And I do like that school and the hospital.
Hmm.
And I think it's great that they have a hospital on campus so
Hmm.
they can actively teach their medical and nursing students right there. And when I
Hmm.
was in that hospital, we often had nursing students and student or resident doctors helping out. They were very active, and there was one nurse there, and she said she was like in her third year and she had to do a couple unpaid 12-hour shifts a week so she could
There
graduate.
you
But
go.
they're getting that experience, which is everything, especially in the medical field. You have to
Hmm.
know what you're doing. So I do like that the university
Hmm.
has
So
that.
you'd say like McMaster is like, the teaching hospital, and it's
Yes,
like,
if you want to be in the medical field 100%, go to Mac
mhm.
because the hospital is right there and you will be
Now
given
when
a
I think
spot.
when I think Mac students, I think, there's probably a lot of uh, international students, but
Mhm.
I also think it's a lot of rich students as well, and that's mainly because it's on the what is it, the western? Is it the western side of Yeah, western
Yeah.
side of Hamilton, which is closer to Ancaster and
Mhm.
you know all that.
Okay. Well, I would disagree because there is Redeemer University in Ancaster. So
Hmm.
unless they're going to
Well,
medical
Redeemer's
school,
Redeemer's private though, right?
yeah, so that's it would cost more to go there. So
Is
that's where the rich
Redeemer
people go.
isn't Christian, right? It's just a
Yeah, it's a
regular old.
Christian university.
Oh, okay, so that's.
Yeah. I actually applied to go to that one and I wish I ended
Hmm.
up going just for the sake of location.
Hmm.
But
Uh,
yeah, it would typically be more expensive.
hmm. I'm pretty sure isn't Redeemer's known for like its like athletic stuff though,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they have a
Um.
teachers
Yeah.
college there. So
Hmm.
a lot of
When
local teachers go there for teachers college.
when I think Mac though, it's like it's in the nicer area of like I wouldn't say
No.
that. It's not.
No, not
Although
really.
the area around Mac is nice, but
No.
as soon as you leave like that little surrounding area, you're back into Hamilton. It sucks.
I don't think the area around Mac looks nice. There's a ton of abandoned buildings.
No, I mean like the campus itself, because the campus is beautiful.
Okay. Sure.
I
Yeah.
would say it's a
Mhm.
nice looking campus,
Yeah.
but as soon as you leave campus, it sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Any final remarks?
Yeah, York.
We talked about York. Did
Did
we?
we? No.
Okay, maybe not.
All right.
Kind of.
So when I think York, I think the stereotype of if you can hold a fork, then go to York, and York is for the less intelligent people of Canada.
You know,
Now, would you say that's true?
yes, I would say it is true. Because if I walk through campus, there are people walking around with their pants down to their knees,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of, I don't know how to describe it, unprofessional looking people, and the way people speak a lot, it just the amount of slang they use, it's like, is this how you normally talk? I don't like speaking with in slang doesn't necessarily mean you're not smart, but that's just how it comes across in my opinion. You
It's
know,
like
just
if you swear every,
swearing a
at
lot,
least.
yeah, and saying incomplete words. It
Yeah.
just
Okay.
doesn't come across as very intelligent. And I know at my school, I've heard of so many students since AI came out. A lot of them have personally admitted to me to using AI in everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could be at every school. I know people that use AI for various reasons, not, not literally writing essays, but helping, which I don't think is
Mhm.
an issue. But, I know when it first started coming out, it was second semester of my first year. It first started like appearing, and when it was brand new, I overheard this guy in my program speaking in the hallway with another girl who was in my program, and he was going on about how like, oh yeah, I just told ChatGPT to write me an essay and then I submitted it, and then
There you go.
that girl, she's like, are you sure that's not allowed? And he's like, oh, they're not gonna know.
Pretty sure they're gonna
That
know.
guy, too, he did not come across as intelligent. And also, I have not seen him since second year.
Damn.
And I've just completed my third year. I don't think he's in the program anymore. Yeah.
I'm assuming using AI to write your entire, essay that's a big no-no, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can use it as a tool, and a lot of professors encourage you to use it as a tool. But it's literally writing from scratch where it's like, um, you're not even doing the work, like you're not learning anything.
Do you think it's a lot of like parents are just making their kids go to university and are just picking York because it's like, oh,
um,
like,
I would
it's easy.
say that might be part of the reason. There is not just parents,
Mm-hmm.
but just social expectations. A lot of people are just
Right.
told from young, you have to go to college or university and you have to get a job. So
Right.
they're there just because they feel like they have to be,
Have to be.
which is
Yeah.
partially me as well. Like I don't know if I would have went to university if I didn't feel like I had to. But also you have like you don't have to, but in today's job market, you have to get as much on your resume as possible if you want a fighting chance.
Mm-hmm.
So education is not a bad idea, although experience is usually more important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, partially that. Also, the burnout is so real with students, and I've experienced it firsthand, especially you get to that second semester. Oh, can't do it anymore. And especially
Oh
with
yeah, I know
all
how
of
you
the
feel.
assignments and finals building up, you just literally do
Yep.
not have time to sit and write a 5-page essay about some topic that you don't even care about.
Yep. I know
So,
that feeling.
yeah, and sometimes these professors expect so much from you. They're like, you have to use this many references from the course, and then you have to use this many outside references, all about this one really specific topic. I don't like, where am I supposed to find all these? I usually use Google Scholar to find as
Mhm.
much as possible, but geez, sometimes I just give up and I just cite some blog post because I literally can't find academic research on something.
Right.
Because, in my opinion, a low grade is better than no grade. So I just do that. So I think a lot of students find that issue as well. Just no passion, no energy, no time.
Mhm.
So yeah, all of that kind of plays a part.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the whole burnout thing. Oh, I know how you feel.
Yeah,
Like when I
I know
was,
you've had it.
I think it was mainly like third semester. It was my third semester, and I was just like, oh, I hate this. I just want to like finish. And like, but then I got to fourth semester. It's like, oh my god, I'm almost there.
Yeah, and
And
then
then
what?
well, it was very. I'm almost there. I finished school, but in that fourth semester, like it was more laid. It was like as the semesters went on, it was more laid back uh, every time. I found that fourth semester was the easiest semester out of all of them,
Mhm.
and definitely like first and second were the hardest.
Hmm. Interesting. I think
Yeah.
my second year was the hardest
Mm-hmm.
because my program had a lot of specific required courses for second year, and one of those courses had a big assignment due every single week.
Yeah.
Luckily, my school went on strike, and we only had to do 70% of the coursework. So I didn't do
There you
4 assignments, and I passed with flying colors.
there you
Yeah,
go.
because I don't know how I would have managed all of
Mm-hmm.
that. I got so lucky. But that course was crazy. It was called Research Methods, because I guess university you have to know how to research.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one was tough. But it's done, and now I'm heading into my final semester. Should be a piece of cake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely want to hear like if we ever get the chance to like get a guest just like that's currently in university or just just graduate. I'd love to just hear their like stories and like any like crazy crap that happened.
Bruh, that's me. What do you mean a guess? That's me.
No, I mean like from like specifically from University of Toronto.
Okay. We can look into
I
that.
need to hear how gritty it is.
So if any listener has gone to U of T or is currently in U of T, please contact us. We'd love to speak with you. All right. I think we've covered the big schools other than McGill, but I don't have much to say about McGill.
Yeah. And by the way, there are loads more
Yeah.
universities. We just don't have enough time to go through them.
No.
And most of them are in Quebec, might I add.
Yeah, I know. And we haven't really covered the East Coast, but it's
No.
okay. It's okay. We can always come back and do another episode or cover a specific school. All right.
Oh wait. Oh wait. Did you already end the episode?
Oh, I didn't end it yet.
Okay, so I was gonna say actually, I bet you most of those like not well known universities that you probably see out on the East Coast or somewhere up, more farther up north. I'm sure that's where all the HR girlies go. And if you send in a resume or whatever from not from their university, they just instant not hired.
Oh my gosh, that's not true. They don't care about
Come
what
on,
school
it's
you went to.
literally the meme. It's literally
not.
the meme.
It's a meme, but it's not true.
Is it though?
It's not true. They do not care what school you went to.
What do you mean you didn't go to?
Oh my gosh.
No,
it's a known fact. Employers don't care where you went. They just care what you majored in. All right, are we done?
Yeah, I think we're done now.
Okay. Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope Dylan hopes you enjoyed. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes. Okay, we will see you in the next one.